Wow, that's amazing. So if I wanted to dive more a little bit more about like your strategy. So since your background is really like on the investment side, um, how do you so on the first companies that you bought, you said like you had like some kind of like minority share on those companies. At what point did you decide to get like a higher stake on the company, and how was your involvement in the strategy on the company and on the execution of a specific strategy with a very specific strategy in mind? Can you
Sure.
share more about that?
Yeah, again, it was just with success and then trying to deploy the capital properly. And again, it takes just as much effort to buy 10% of a larger company. I'd rather buy a smaller company, but own 100%, and then get to get more involved, really put my shoulder behind it, and try to grow that business. Just because I own it, I don't expect it to be worth more the next day. So, I do put the time, effort, build a team. Often I'll change the strategy. So each one of these 30 plus investments have had a different reason or rationale behind them. As an example, one of the companies I built was in uranium. So I fell in love with
Mm-hmm.
uranium. I was looking at the supply demand paradigm that was going on. The world had not been looking for uranium because it had been around $8 a pound, and it's not economical to go dig it up out of the ground. And that's because there was
Mm-hmm.
decommissioning of Russian warheads were going on for decades. And that's what was
Mm-hmm.
funding these nuclear reactors. They'd announced that's coming to an end. I speculated it'd be a bubble or at least a quick movement into uranium exploration. So I went to the world's largest uranium company, Cameco, got an asset that they had spent over $40 million developing. I got it for $10,000 because the asset was out of favor and nobody was looking at uranium. 18 months later, I built that company, took it public, and grew it to $125 million. Other companies, again, I often will look for things that are out of favor. I bought a wallpaper mill in Germany. Everyone said wallpaper. Nobody uses wallpaper. I paid 5 million euros for it. It was profitable at the time. Over the 6-7 years I owned and ran it, I changed out management. We changed the product mix. So we dividended out probably $20 million and then sold it to Gladfelter on the New York Stock Exchange for $210 million. Bought
Wow.
assets from Bank of Canada. Again, all those are the publicly traded ones. I can't talk about the ones that were private because obviously we're NDAs. But I bought assets off the Bank of Canada for $500,000, and 2.5, 3 years later, we sold it for $17.5 million. So it's been very diverse. Each one is different. Even the banknote mill, it was not a great business. It's an old, mature business. Things, as we know, are all going to electronic payments and credit cards and things like that. But there are always going to be banknotes, and it was a very attractive deal. So I paid $7.5 million for that one. Again, it was a public company, or took it public after I acquired it. I paid $7.5 million for it. There was $4 million of finished good inventory in the basement, so we sold that off and recouped more than half our investment. Then we sold the ancillary farmland that came with that mill for 12.5 million Swiss francs. Then we sold the water rights and a 4.8 megawatt turbine for 18.5 million Swiss francs. Then I approached and sold the land and building to a multi-billion-dollar Swiss pension fund for 55 million. And then ultimately
Mm.
sold the business back to the Swiss National Bank for 21.5 million, all on a $7.5 million initial acquisition. That took 13 years, so it didn't happen quick or overnight. And again, there are lots more examples, but each one has been unique and interesting. The gold mines in Ecuador, the person who actually put those properties together had developed numerous mines, had a great track record, but gold was out of favor. So acquired that for 1 million all share deal. Obviously took it public, and that grew to a $450 million market cap, with Canada's largest natural resource investment firm fund owning over
Mm.
20% of it by the end of it. So, another successful project.